Jordan Johnson versus Adam Milstead. Here's what we learned. I think we learned that I was a little too high on Jordan Johnson because he really had me nervous on that one. He wasn't able to get any takedowns on Adam Milstead and just looked very stiff on the feet. I think Adam Milstead actually had much improved takedown defense, commendable to him, because against Curtis Blades it was just terrible. Looks like he really took his time, went back to the drawing board after the injury and really worked on that, because he really was showing some pretty solid defense and he actually had some pretty good power in his hands. I just think that he's very stiff, even for light heavyweight, and I don't think that he's a guy that's going to be hanging around in the UFC for very long. I think they'll probably give Adam Milstead another fight. Could get a knockout, he could get a couple of knockouts. I'm not saying he can't stick around for a couple years in the organization. I just don't think he'll ever gain any traction. I don't think he'll ever be a commodity. And for Jordan Johnson, I think what we learned is he still needs to be slow-tracked, man. I thought maybe after this fight they could potentially give him a top 20, 25 guy, but maybe they still will. It is light heavyweight. I just think that they should do a service to Jordan Johnson and give him another building fight, maybe another couple building fights, just purely because light heavyweight is just a terrible division. And I think that Jordan Johnson maybe is not someone that you could build around, but just because light heavyweight is so shallow, you have to build contenders. You have to just build names that can get in there with other names, that both the names are respected names. And right now, there's only about 5 or 6 of those names, maybe 10 names at light heavyweight that are respectable names. And even if Jordan Johnson isn't the greatest personality, even if he's not the funnest guy to watch, he still could be one of those better fighters, better names. And I think that's why the UFC should invest in Jordan Johnson and give him a couple more fights at the same level of an Adam Milstead, maybe a little bit higher progression, and just let him get those warts out, let him continue to work, and hopefully they could get a commodity out of him. I don't think they should throw Jordan Johnson to the wolves. I still think that Jordan Johnson could potentially be a long-term fixture in the UFC top 15. Just he needs a lot of work. He just needs to continue to progress at a slow rate in his career. And I think the UFC is going to grant that for him, and I just hope that they do. And I think so what we learned is that Jordan Johnson needs to get the slow burn up the 205-pound ladder.